Hi, this is Coach Shawnee Lavender, the Conscious Moms Coach. Welcome to my video. This video is specifically for couples. Now, it is about the things that those couples can do in their relationship that help create a strong foundation for an emotionally healthy and happy home. So even though there's lots of things that as a parent you can do for your children and with your children that have to do with creating that strong foundation for an emotionally healthy and happy home, this video is focused specifically on what you can do in regards to your partnership, whether that's a marriage or other committed relationship, whatever you call your union. That's what the focus of this video is on. Now, it's especially going to be useful for couples who are struggling or who have struggled in their relationship. This can be before children, after children, but if struggle seems like a component of your relationship with your partner, this video is for you. It's also for couples who feel like their partnership, their relationship has changed pretty significantly since they became parents. So it's like if you look back and say, here was our relationship BC, before children, and here it is AC, after children, and they're different. This video is also for you. And also it's for couples who are mindful or sensitive to or really wanting to be intentional about the home environment that they create for their children to grow up in. So if that's something that you want to pay attention to, maybe you did not grow up in the best home environment, or it's simply something that you really want to do and create a really rich, nurturing environment, then this video will be for you as well. So it's for lots of people. Now, let me give you some of my background and experience before I get into what I want to share in this video, which is specifically 2 ways that you as a couple can create a strong foundation for an emotionally healthy and happy home. I have been in a committed partnership for 20 years, and 18 of those years I've been married. My husband, whose name is Bruce, he and I have been married for 18 years. 11 of those were before our daughter arrived, and now we've had almost 7 since she was born. Now, when we first entered into relationship, when we were dating, we moved in together, we wrote vows to each other about how we would be in relationship with each other, basically setting out expectations for what I set out expectations for him about what he could count on me for, and how I was going to show up in the relationship, and vice versa. He did the same thing from his side. Then when we got married, we did the same thing. We wrote vows for our marriage, and not just for our wedding day, which is what most couples do. We wrote vows that we used and use for our marriage. So what that looks like in our case is that we have regular meetings to connect with each other. We reread our vows. And when we do that, really what we're doing is we're checking in, like when I read mine, for instance, I'm thinking to myself, am I living this? This is the vow I made. Am I living this? And that's what Bruce does as well. And we also, at those meetings, we clean up any resentments, any things that have built up between us that is getting in our way of having a healthy relationship. We acknowledge each other, share what we love and appreciate about each other, because even if you say it, or if we say it, in our regular daily life, it's a good opportunity to be really intentional about giving each other that positive feedback. And we also do some logistical big picture planning. So we talk about things like holidays. What are we wanting out of those? We talk about money. What do we want to be doing with our money? How do we want to be using it? We talk about our daughter. We talk about our relationship. So some of those big things, not just daily nitty gritty, like who's making dinner tonight? We're talking more of those big picture things. So we had that strong foundation going into becoming parents. Even with that, what I noticed is in that first year of parenting, our relationship really deteriorated. So that first year in particular, parenting is intense in and of itself. Specifically, though, that first year for many, many, many couples is super intense physically, super intense emotionally, and super intense mentally. So you've got all of this going on, and then you've got all these changes about what's happening. The family's changing. And many couples really struggle. Research says that couples who have children often are unhappier in some ways than childless couples. So while having children, my belief, is a huge, huge blessing, and I absolutely am so grateful to be a parent. Being a parent also does present some real challenges to relationships. So that's my own experience. And then working past that first year, which again was seven years ago, or 6 years ago was the end of the first year, I guess, to re-strengthen our marriage and get us back on track to where we were before our daughter arrived. And this is one of the areas, even though I'm a parent coach, some people, have that mindset of they think, oh, you work with parents and children. Yes. However, I work with the parents. So I work with moms and dads, and I'm working specifically with that individual, one at a time, unless I'm in a group setting. But even then, I'm still just coaching one individual at a time. And I am focused on what is it that person needs to be at their best. And so for some people, they are going to get coaching from me around things like their physical health, because that is, in their case, we see that their physical health is negatively impacting the way they parent. Another parent might get some coaching around their career, because we see that what some dynamics of their job or their work situation are creating stress for the family. And so we look at those. So same thing with relationships, and even more so because the relationship that you have with your co-parent is something that it's in the home, it's that energy in the home. And so if that relationship is out of whack in some way, it is going to negatively impact you as a parent, your partner as a parent, and your children, because they are in that environment between you two, with you two. So even though I'm a parent coach, and people tend to think, oh, you parent child. Yes, that's true. However, it's more encompassing because I'm looking at what are all the factors that are going to help that individual be the best parent they can be and show up as the parent that they want to be in their child's life. So I wanted to give a little bit of that background so well, what does this have to do with parenting? It has a lot to do with parenting. So let's use this time now to get into those two key ways parents in their own relationship can create the foundation for an emotionally happy and healthy home. So the first thing that couples can do is they can model love. Sounds really simple, right? They can model love. I'm going to talk about the specific ways that you can model love, because it's not just a thing you think, it's through actions that you take. Before I do that, though, I want to talk about why this aspect of your partnership, modeling love, is so crucial to creating that emotionally healthy home. So one of the reasons is the model that you set with your partner is going to be one of the strongest messages your children get about how to relate to another person. Now, specifically, it's going to give them that intimate partnership picture. But in general, it's still giving them just a broad relationship picture of how do you interact with another human being? How do you, work out things? How do you make decisions? How do you communicate? Those kind of things. So it is that modeling that you're giving them on which they can build their future relationships. So obviously you want them to have really strong future relationships, right? Yes. So you want to model love. And the reason why is because that is what they're going to be seeing and they're going to be putting in as their foundation as well. Another reason why this is so important is this sets the tone for family life. So if you and your partner are relating to each other in a loving way, that is the energy that's going to be coming through the home. If conversely you're relating in a divisive way, an adversarial way, then that's going to be the energy that's flowing in there that your children are living in and interacting with. So it's something that you want to be really, again, setting that foundation, putting the building blocks in there so that, yeah, you've got a home that is based on loving relationship. Another reason why this modeling love is so important is it creates a sense of safety and security for our children. So when they see their parents interacting in a way that radiates harmony and says, oh yeah, things are going well here. And it's not perfection. We all have bumps, and it's okay to have bumps with your partner. By and large, though, if the tone, the energy, the sense of your relationship with your partner, if that is a positive one, your children can really rest at ease in that. They go, oh yeah, okay, good. They're good. Mom and dad are good, or mom and mom are good, or my dads are fine. They just can be easy with that then, because that piece is in harmony, is in sync. So it's something that really relieves some stress from our children when we are in harmony with our partner. Another related reason that's really important is, as you know, when your relationship is not going well, your stress level goes up. So when your stress level goes up, you also know this, your ability to parent the way you want to in a loving, conscious, intentional way goes down. So you want your intimate partnership to be strong so that you can be relatively stress-free, so that you can show up as a parent the way you want to. Makes perfect sense, right? So it really allows you to be at your best and bring your best self forward for your child and your children. It also creates, when you go back to that environment idea, as far as this energy environment that you're creating, it creates a richer environment. When the soil in a garden is well nourished, has the right nutrients in it, the plants that grow there really thrive because the environment is so nourishing. Same thing with our family. We, in our co-parenting relationship, we're creating that soil for our family and our children to grow in. So, and for us as well, we're growing, right? Just differently than our children. So we want to really create that nutrient-rich, nutrient-dense soil, and modeling love is one really effective way to do that. So let's talk about, those are some of the whys. Why do you want to do it? Let's talk about, well, what does that mean, Shawnee? What does it mean to model love? That's what I'm going to talk about now. Here are some specific things that you can do to model love with and for your partner. One thing is to show physical affection. Now, this doesn't mean, you're dirty dancing in front of your children. No, it doesn't mean that. It means you're holding hands, you're giving kisses on the cheeks, kisses on the lips, hugging. You're showing ways of touching your partner that show you have physical affection for them, that you enjoy being in contact with them. So it's really simple. Not everybody's a toucher, so I'm not saying you have to do this copious amounts. You want to, though, still demonstrate that, yeah, this is a person you like to be with. You want to snuggle up to them. You want to be cozy with them. Similarly, you want to talk to them in a gentle, affirming way. So you want to show by the language you use with your partner that you love and appreciate them. So you want to affirm them. You want to say nice things to them. You want to talk to them in a tone of voice that is loving. So you want to have that kind of talk. As I talked about a little bit earlier with my own example, you want to repair those rifts because you're going to have them. You are not going to have a relationship without bumps. There aren't those, at least that I know of. Maybe in storybooks, but we're human, and so we have bumps that we encounter with our partners. So you're going to have them, so give yourself a break on that. Just know it's going to happen. So you want to repair those, though. Don't let them go so long that they start to fester and get nasty, and then you notice yourself snipping at your partner, or you notice yourself withdrawing from your partner. You want to, as soon as you notice you have something that's getting in your way of connecting and loving your partner, you want to handle it and address it. You can disagree around your kids. This is something I want to say because people do ask me about it. I think it is absolutely fine to disagree around your children. One, because people disagree, so it's nice for them to see that, yeah, okay, it happens at home too. Mom and dad are not always on the same page. It's okay. So what you want to be mindful of, though, is what volume and what quality of disagreement you have. So if you're having very much just a logical, hey, you load the dishwasher different than me, that never happens at my home. No. Yes, it does, of course. But if you're having a disagreement like that, that's just really, hey, it's really energy neutral. Nobody's really mad at each other. It's just, hey, could you do it this way? And we're talking about it. That's fine. Because again, it shows, hey, here's how we disagree. Here's how we negotiate. Here's how we work with each other. If you're in a place where you are really triggered, your emotions, you're hot, you're like, or you're really hurt and, you're really, really upset, or you're feeling afraid, those emotions, we do get triggered in our intimate relationships. So if you really have, or your partner has, higher emotions, those are ones you don't want to have in front of the children, because most of the time what happens when we're in those places is that's when we don't fight fair. We do the undercutting things, we do the mean-spirited things, we say things we regret. So you can still talk to your children about that. If they hear you and your partner arguing some, or maybe like you started to have an argument and then you went, we need to have a timeout because, the children are around. You can talk to them and say, yeah, you know what? We get upset at each other. And you know what? We also make up and we work it out. So we're going to do that. Okay. So you can give them that reassurance. So it's not like they can't see any of it, but when emotions are high, those are things that you want to do outside of time when your children are around, because that's not their business. That's your business to handle, not something for them to concern themselves with. Another way you can model love is really valuing the other person. So this can take lots of different forms, but talking nicely about your partner to your children, saying, boy, you know what? Dad is so awesome at this. Don't you appreciate this thing he does? And I am so grateful that he does thus and such, whatever it is. You can say those kind of affirming things, talking about them in a loving way, showing your children, hey, this person is really top notch. We are so grateful to have them in our lives. So yeah, you want to build that person up in front of your children. You want to take time for couplehood. Now, I know you know this, and all of us at times usually struggle with this. It is essential, though, that you have that time for you as a couple, not just you two as co-parents or you as a family. You need that time for you as a couple, because you do. It's part of who you are. So the family is all of us together. There's parent-child relationships, there are parent-to-parent relationships. So you need to have this time for each set of relationships. And so couplehood time is one of those pieces. You want to also be each other's advocate. So this is one of the ways I see this demonstrated is sometimes with our children. So um, most families, they have some roles that get um, either fallen into unconsciously most of the time, sometimes consciously, but um, one parent or the other may be the go-to parent for doing the bedtime routine or whatever. So this has happened in my house recently. For instance, I am more the go-to parent with the bedtime routine. My husband does the bedtime routine in the kitchen. He's doing the cleaning up and putting away, getting lunch made, and so on and so forth. I'm doing the brushing teeth, those kind of things. So I have been, as you might be able to tell by my voice and by coughing, I'm not 100% physically right now. And I've had a few nights where it's been like, I just do not have the energy. Now, my daughter's old enough that I call on her and I say, look, this is a situation. I don't have it tonight. I don't have the bandwidth. So here's what I'd like for you. Can you do this? And most of the time, she's very willing to help me out. I also, though, have said to my husband, I'm out. I need to lay down. I do not feel well. And so that's where then he's going to step in both in, taking on my role for that evening. Also, though, being my advocate with my daughter to say, hey, let's do this. Let's help mom out because, she's under the weather right now. So he's taking a stand for me. He's being my advocate with her. So you can do that in lots of ways with your children. You can do it in all parts of your relationship. That might be saying something to, a family member who is, not giving your spouse the space that they really need. Maybe you're being an advocate for them to say, hey, they really could use some more space, whatever. But you want to be that advocate so that your partner knows that you're on their team and you're willing to go to bat for them. Love the sports analogies. Sorry if it doesn't work for you. They're good analogies. And finally, the thing that I think you can do to model love is to be interested in each other. Let me say a little bit more about what I mean by that. When I say be interested in each other, it sounds obvious, right? What I mean, though, is that often in modern life, couples are hurry scurry everywhere. One parent zooming out the door with the kids in the morning, one's zooming to their office first, then they do the reverse in the afternoons, whatever. It's a really busy, pretty frenetic pace. And often in many families, what I see is that parents are like ships passing in the night. It's like, hi, honey, bye, honey. And so they may get that date night in once a month or once every couple of weeks, but they may not be having that time to really still be connected on a regular basis. So it's showing that interest. So it can be things like when you depart in the mornings from each other, when you're separating as a family, everybody going their different ways, really having some rituals of goodbye, hugging your partner, leaving notes for them, having some ways that you two are cementing that connection and saying, hey, we're still together. I look forward to seeing you later. So it's not so casual. It doesn't have to be super formal. It's just not that, hey, see you later, hun. It's something that you've put intentionality into. Same thing coming back together. It may be my husband and I both work at home, for instance, and there are some days one of us picks up our daughter from school or camp and the other days it's in the reverse. And what I notice is that she is really great about, she comes running to see whoever didn't pick her up. So like if I'm home and my husband brings her home, she runs upstairs, she comes to see me. So I think of the same thing. It's like, okay, do I get up out of my seat? Do I pause what I'm doing and say, I'm going to go say hello and let my husband know and my daughter know, hey, I'm glad to see you again. I may still have work to do. That's fine. I can come right back to it. But something that's like, hey, I'm interested. You're here. Yay, we're together again. Showing that interest, showing interest in what they care about, being involved with learning about what's going on for them. What else are they doing in life? How's it going at work? How's it going with their, the sport that they like to play or whatever their hobby is? Taking that interest and making it real, putting it out there in the world. So that's the number one way that couples can create that emotionally healthy, happy home foundation is by modeling love in their relationship. So really showing they care about each other, they love each other, they want to be together, they heal things that get between them so that they can keep growing and keep their relationship strong. It's those things that say, hey, we're a couple and we're excited about it, we're proud of it, and we spend time and energy nurturing this relationship. So that's the number one thing you can do to support your family. The second thing that you and your partner can do that's going to provide that strong foundation for an emotionally healthy, happy home is you can have shared values. Now, you might think, well, of course we have shared values. We're a family. That's why we're a family, right? Not everybody. So there's lots of different ways we have children that we come into being a family unit. And the shared values is really an important piece for a few reasons. So let me start out with that why again. First, it gives children predictability. So when they know what we stand for as a family, what we're about, what they can count on as a family, again, it's that solid foundation. It's like, oh, yeah, that's us. That's what we're here for. So they really know, yeah, this is what it means, what it really means to be family. Here's what we're about. So it gives them that surety and that predictability. It sets a more unified family direction. Now, there's still going to be things that, you and your partner don't have in common and things that, that person likes that you don't. You're still going to have diversity. That's great. And that makes for a rich, more vibrant family. However, with values, you do want to have that unification. You want to have it's that strong core. It's like our backbone that runs up and down our body, right? You want that to be strong so that everything else can have that flexibility and can move off of it. So you don't want it to be rigid. It's not, it's not a steel rod. It's something though that's very solid and you can feel it. It's there. It's not like, oh, where's the backbone? It's there. You can feel it. You know it. So that's what values do in our family is they give all of us that sense of like, yeah, this is where we're at. This is what we come back to. This is what we're built up from. So it gives you that unified direction. It also, as you can tell from this skeleton analogy that I'm using now, it's that framework on which the rest of family life is built and rebuilt. So when you have that strong core of values and that backbone, then, when things do get wonky, as they will for various reasons, whether it's you've just moved as a family and life is topsy-turvy, somebody started a new job or a new school, or somebody's sick, has a major illness, new baby comes into the family, all those kinds of changes that are going to happen in life. When you have those shared values, you have that thing to come back to go, okay, we've lost our way. We're sort of wandering out here in the wilderness. You go, oh yeah, let's get back to that foundation. Where's our core? Where do we rebuild from? So those are the whys that you want to have the shared values. So the shared values, let me say a little bit more about what I mean by that. I'm going to diverge just a little bit for a minute. Going back to the top of this video, when I talked about my own experience of writing vows, I didn't say, but I'll say it now. My husband and I wrote a book out of our experience of writing our vows and using them for our marriage called I Do, the Marriage Vow Workbook. And in that, what we did was we took our process and shared it with couples so that they could create vows for their relationships, mindfully and intentionally. So this process then is also something that I use with the families I work with specifically around creating vows that parents write for their children, parenting vows, and also about creating family visions and what you stand for as a family. And so that's what I'm talking about when I say values. I'm talking about those big things that you agree on that are important, of primary importance. Like you could come up with 100 values, and that's good, and yet you really want to come up with, like, what are the 5, 7, maybe 3, some small number, a handful of what you really stand for as a family. So things like truthfulness, compassion, community, playfulness, forgiveness, those things that you stand for. And so those are the things you want to share, even if how each parent puts them into practice is a little bit different. That's okay. That's the part where parents don't need to be on the same page in exactly how they do those things. What you do want to be on the same page with is that you do things that support that. So let me give an example. So with my daughter, um, she is definitely securely attached to my husband and myself. She feels more comfortable with me on an emotional sharing level. So when she has big feelings and there are things that maybe she needs to talk out or process in some way, she is generally going to feel more comfortable doing that with me. So part of what that can look like in our family then is, if my husband, like, let's say it's his day to be with her after school and some stuff has come up, he may share that with me so that in part I can support her with it later on. Not that he's saying, "Hey, I can't do it." It's not that at all. It's he's aware and we're aware that she more naturally gravitates to doing that kind of conversation, that kind of work with me. So he's saying, "Hey, there's this thing, let's do that." Or, "Honey, I want you to know about this so you can be aware of it." And then I usually follow up with my daughter about it. There may be different types of play that you and your partner do with your kids. So it may be that you are the real rough and tumble, loves to get physical play with your children. And your partner, he's not. He's more likes to sit and read with them or sing with them or go to museums with them or have more, imaginative play that's not so physical. That's fine. So the point is that if your shared value is, one of the values is playfulness or shared, really family time, doesn't matter that you do it differently. It's that here's the overriding value, and you each have your own ways to bring that forward. So if that doesn't make sense, ask me, make a comment in the comments so I can respond to it. But it's one that I see people wondering about. Do parents always need to agree? I don't think so. I don't think they have to agree on the nitty gritty things, the fine details, let me say. They do want to agree on the bigger things because that's that foundation. That's where you want to show, yeah, we're on board. We believe in really treating each other compassionately. Your mom may talk to you as a child about that differently than your other mom does. It's okay. It's okay to have them do it differently. Underneath, though, you still want the value to be shared. So that's what this video is about. It's about, as a couple, what are the things that you two can do within yourselves and for yourselves that is going to create that foundation for your family that allows you all to be emotionally healthy and happy. So those two things, again, are to really model love in your relationship with your partner. And secondly, to share values. And so you want to get clear on those values. And I have a process by which you can do that if you're interested. That's my Committed Parent Program, so you can leave a comment if you want to learn more about that. But that is something that's important as well, so that you are clear on what is that bedrock that your family stands on, and what are you going for as a family, and what can your children count on from you and your partner. So those are two really wonderful things you can do today that are going to strengthen your relationship between you and your partner and create that strong foundation for everybody in the family to really thrive. So thank you for spending this time with me today. I apologize for the coughing, the intermittent coughing, and the froggy voice. As always, I welcome mindful, polite discussions. So if there's something that I've shared that either didn't make sense or you want to reflect back on or you really resonated with, I'd love to hear that. So feel free to drop a comment here. And if you want to connect with me regularly, you can become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. You can also find me on my website, shawnielavender.com. That's ShawnieLavender.com. And I also run a Facebook group called the Conscious Moms Circle. And that's for moms and dads around the world who are striving to parent in a conscious, loving way with their children. So thanks again. I wish you a really wonderful day and a thriving partnership. Take care.